Hi, good morning, D23 members. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Michael Vargo. I'm the head of D23, and thanks for coming out so early in the morning. And how wonderful to walk through the park gates and have a town square empty. It's a remarkable sight, right? Well, thank you for being here on the 70th celebration of Disneyland. My very first visit to Disneyland was when I was 4 years old for his 20th anniversary. My parents brought me to Disneyland. And I don't remember so much about my first visit, but I do remember coming for the 30th celebration when it was a weekend-long party. It opened early on a Friday morning, and they stayed open until Sunday night. And my friend and I came here, we were teenagers, and we wrote Pirates of the Caribbean, I bet you 100 times. We slept in the phone booths in Tomorrowland, don't tell anybody, but really had such a great time. So many wonderful memories have been made here at Disneyland Resort over the years, and the 70th is no different. Yesterday was a spectacular day with all the activities going on, and very special to have you all here this morning for this incredible presentation. So I just wanted to come out and say thank you for being a part of D23. And thank you to the entire Disneyland Resort for hosting this special event for us this morning. I hope you enjoy the show. I do want to introduce from our D23 team, Justin Arthur, who's going to bring out some special guests for you. And we'll get the show started. Thanks so much. Have a great time,
everyone. Good morning, D23 members. Who's excited? I am too. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm as excited as all of you are. So we're really excited to have this very early look at this brand new show. So much love and care has been put into everything about this show, and we're excited this morning to have a few of my favorite people here who are some of the people who worked on this. So I would like to first introduce Imagineer Jeff Shaver-Moscowitz, who is the Portfolio Executive Creative Producer. And I'd also love to introduce Director of the Walt Disney Archives and my old boss, Becky Klein.
That woman is everywhere.
We found her sleeping back there. She's been here all week.
Yeah, Jeff promised me a coffee, so I got up.
Starbucks after this, you should get through it.
So I know this all happened very rapidly with Mr. Lincoln and all these other things, but Jeff, you've been working on this for many years, before the attraction even was under refurbishment and the new attraction was going in. So what's it like seeing this come to life this week?
It's amazing. I was looking on my computer, on my iPhoto, and looking back at the first photos. Our first scout to the theater to check out the theater underneath and say, okay, how can we fit a turntable in here so we can keep boat shows, was July 16th, 2018. Oh. And our first visit to the office was July 17th, 2018, which became pretty poignant when we chose our opening day. It was pretty amazing. And even Tom Fitzgerald said that day when Tom and I came to the office. He's like, it's Disneyland's birthday. It feels like the right day to come to the office, which was really cool. But yeah, it's been 7 years of just passion and heart and building a team that had that much passion and heart, and it's been an incredible journey, and it's been an incredible journey to create and work with Becky in the archives, the Walt Disney Family Museum, but it really culminates in this week, having a full house of people to enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a lot of you out there. It's great.
You mentioned there's a turntable, so the whole audience is going to move around the show, right?
Please remain seated.
Don't be alarmed.
That attraction is still in Florida.
Okay. All right. So, Becky, I know that you and the archives team worked on this attraction as well. What was it like seeing it this week? And
oh, it was so cool. I get emotional at everything. You know that. I cry at Hallmark commercials. But it was just so exciting for me to experience. You know, I did see Walt Disney once in person when I was about 6 years old. I saw him in the Rose Parade. And that's the only time, you know, here I am kind of Walt's historian. And to see, the close approximation that, it's not like having Walt right there, but it's sure close. And it was just a real energetic feeling and a charge. It was very emotionally appealing, and it's wonderful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your response afterwards.
It is cool. We restored Walt's office, we did all these things, and we feel so close, but we've never been able to be in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's something really special about that. I think from that perspective, who tells this story? How did you approach telling the story with this, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it was important for Walt to tell his own story. One Man's Dream was such a beautiful film that we said, all right, there's Walt telling his own story, and then being able to create a new ending that turned into the moment for the figure reveal just felt right. And so yeah, we did that. You'll see some updates. We got Bruce brought back to record some new score and do the score under Walt's speech, which was really great. So the film feels fresh and new. And then we wanted to have a new host voice for this showing specifically. And so I don't know if you guys know what the internet is or read anything about this, but you probably figured out, find out by now, that we asked our CEO, Bob Iger, to be the host.
He was really excited to do it.
He really was. He was really sweet. He was honored when we asked him, and then we were in the recording booth with him on that day, and he was like, I didn't like that take. Can we do that again? And we'd do 3 or 4 takes. And Tom Fitzgerald would be like, oh no, that one was great, that one's in the can. He's like, I think I got one more in me, can I just try one more? It was really important to Bob to do this and get this right, and it meant a lot to him.
That's so cool. Well, you mentioned that Walt narrates his own story in a lot of ways, so how did you approach picking which recordings and what he might say?
Yeah, I mean, as Disney fans, as D23 fans, there's Walt evolution through the years, and people have their favorite version of Walt. Walt when he came to LA in 1923, and it's the Walt you welcomed into your living rooms as Uncle Walt. And we wanted a period where he had all this great stuff to look back on. He built this wonderful organization and had that to look back on, but still had that eye to the future. We really wanted that future focused Walt, because that's who he was. That one foot was always in the future. And so we chose 1963 as the year we wanted to portray Walt, because he had Mary Poppins going on, he had the Florida Project in mind, but he had Disneyland open, he had accomplished all these things, but he still had that eye looking forward, excited about the new developments. And so that's the portrayal that you'll see, is the 1963 Walt.
The audio was actually something that I helped Tom with. Picking it, we had done a lot of research and looked at source material, audio sources, for when we did Disney 100, the exhibition. We created a version of Walt to host that, and so I shared that footage and audio with Tom. So it's in some ways it's very similar. Some of Walt's great quotes are in that we used in both places.
So cool. So bringing all this together is probably the most sophisticated audio animatronics figure ever created. How do you approach depicting somebody like Walt Disney?
Yeah, obviously we, as Imagineers or fans, we grew up, looking up to Walt. My first biography in 2nd grade was on Walt Disney. Tom Fitzgerald grew up, wanting to be one of Walt's people too. It was very important to us to do this the best way possible. So there were some, what we call moonshots we gave the team. This is the technology we have today. What we need is this. And it really had to be, we weren't getting an audio animatronic figure to look like Walt, we were creating a Walt Disney audio animatronic figure. And so everything had to be designed to have Walt's mannerisms, his facial expression. He had those eyebrows that were so expressive, and you knew exactly what he was thinking, whether he was happy or not happy. And so I had to capture that. His mannerisms, the way he talked with his hands, very much punctuated those thoughts with his hands. We had to have hands that did that. Our audio animatronic hands up to that point kind of did this and this, so we wanted something with a point, so we had to develop that. And so we got the best team in the business to develop all these moonshots, and There are some other things Tom was very passionate about. Everybody talked about the glint in Walt's eye. Like when you talk to him, there was a light in his eyes. And so the team created eyes that we had never created before for an audio animatronic figure that had a corneal bulge the way your eye does, and were 3D printed so they reflected light the way your eye does as well. So you'll see there's a light in his eyes.
They twinkle.
He's alive. He's twinkling.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's just an amazing team who took on every challenge we gave them and made it happen. This is also an all-electric figure. Usually. For figures that stand in our previous shows, Lincoln, American Adventure, and things use pneumatic or hydraulic energy to give you that energy and strength to lift a figure, because these are thousands of pounds, these figures. This is all electric, and the team at first was like, oh, electric motors can't do that. Maybe we can get him to stand during the performance, but not sit back down and like, we need him to rest back on the desk too. And they did it, and I think you'll see it really brings the performance to life.
You mentioned him resting on the desk. He starts out kind of leaning, which is great. When he stood up and the movements are so fluid and lovely, and Tom mentioned that he had him kind of getting a little impatient, the Walt would drum his fingers or put his hand on his hip. It's a little, we call it the teapot pose. But there's these mannerisms. When I first saw it, that was the first thing. I saw the twinkle in the eye, the eyebrows, and his mannerisms, and I just, it's Walt. Yeah. It was so exciting.
That's so cool. Well, Becky, tell us a little bit about the Archives collaboration on this project and some of the things y'all were involved in.
Yeah, we were involved from the beginning with, just helping to set the setting, mostly. Some reference for Walt. We worked with the Walt Disney Family Museum, and the Archives supplied simple things like, what kind of rings did Walt wear on his hands, and what did the tie look like with the Smoke Tree Ranch logo and everything. And we did a lot of that, and photos of Walt to use as reference. But we also worked on the setting, which is reminiscent of Walt Disney's office. It's not a fair copy of Walt's office, but it's, we always laugh that Walt had two offices at the studio, and then he had the TV audience studio, where we had the office there, and then this is probably the fourth Walt office, so it's really fun. It's based on his office, so it has really cool things, like we loaned you the Walt's briefcase, which he would carry back and forth from home to the studio every night, so you recreated that for this set. Also, some really interesting things. One of my favorites is a little Pinocchio maquette that, if you've seen our 55th anniversary movie we did recently, that little maquette was in Walt's office, and so we put him back in there, even though he was from the past, from the late 30s, early 40s. Having that Pinocchio model in there kind of shows Walt's past and how much he loved it. But also moving forward, there's books in there from when he was working on Epcot, so some very futuristic urban planning books and things like that. There's Walt's plane. And then just some really small touches, like photos of people that he just loved, like Kurt Russell and, of course, Abraham Lincoln and Ed Wynn. Yeah. So if you've been to Walt's office, you'll recognize it as Walt's office.
Yeah, we thought it caught us when we were looking at the office, and we knew we only had a small amount of stage real estate to recreate this office, so we had to be very choosy about what wound up in there. But on the board, and we're recreating this in the Opera House Theater, and there's a picture of Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln in Walt's office. Of all the things he created, of all the things he did, that was the thing that was on the wall in his office. So we're like, all right, that's a sign that needs to be on the set.
That's so cool. Well, if you all get a chance to come back in today, I hope you get a virtual queue at some point to be able to do this again. Make sure you go check out all the amazing exhibits out in the lobby that they worked on together, along with the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Yeah, they loaned behind glass. If you saw Walt's apartment represented there, there's like 30 objects in there that are really from Walt's, from that apartment that the family, through the Family Foundation and the Walt Disney Family Museum loaned. So they're original furniture and pieces in there that you haven't displayed here at Disneyland before.
Well, I think it's time for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a round of applause for Jeff and Becky. And just a reminder, when the show's over, we do have to exit because there are going to be more people waiting to come in. So we can't hang out in here, but thank you all for joining us, and we can't wait to watch it with you. So enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show, everybody.